teachers, how can you tell if a student dislikes you? More rare, but a dead giveaway. They have their parents ask to switch them out of a class. See, in 8th grade I really enjoyed my science teacher, but I was in the bad class. I told her as such, and she got me switched to her best class that same day. It could be because of a student in their class. Last school year I had this fat, stupid, loud, distracting, annoying weeb with the same first name, middle name, and birthday as me, and the same last name as one of my friends. He followed people and bugged them, and when they responded nicely he assumed that meant they were friends. So he keeps following them, and if they respond rudely, he would keep following them to teach them to stop bullying. He was in my class and only one person tolerated him. Even the nice kids eventually lost it with him. He was in my class. He also almost ruined my friendship with my best friend, who pitied him and accepted him. He wasn't in my class, so he didn't deal with him all day. I rode the bus home last year, and my friend group waited at a specific table, where he eventually joined us and never left. After everyone at the table told him to leave numerous times, he was beat up a few times because he was messing with the wrong people, and I barely feel sorry. I wish I was making him up. A friend of mine said as a quote for the yearbook freshman year, the hardest part of freshman year was teacher's name. That quote is in the yearbook, so I think the teacher knows my friend doesn't like them. Assuming the teacher bothered to read through the entire yearbook or look your friend up specifically, I guess someone could have also told them. But who would want to do that? Another teacher, just to have some laughs. It's usually pretty obvious, but sometimes they can surprise you. I once had a student scowl at me every time he walked in. I tried to remain cordial, but he'd grunt and snap any time I spoke to him. He turned work in infrequently and was generally sullen. Fast forward 8 months. This kid starts walking towards my class on Teacher Appreciation Day with a giant gift basket of stuff that I like. He slams it down on my desk and growls in a way that was totally contrary to his words, "You're my favorite teacher." Apostrophe. So like, you never really know. Was he social? Not really, but I only ever saw him in my class. Just because he never talked to me doesn't mean he didn't talk to anyone. In elementary school, it's really easy because they will just tell you straight to your face. I have never met anyone more straightforward or brutally honest than a 4th grader. Because you look like an ugly giraffe and I don't like you. You're tacky and I hate you. Actually, that's pretty easy. The harder part is telling if they actually like you. A lot of teenagers at least aren't very emotive publicly one way or the other. I've gotten notes from kids who I honestly thought didn't enjoy my class after they leave that say I was their favorite teacher. You just do what you think is best and trust eventually they'll come around. Yeah. When the moody kid you low-key thought hated you asks to speak to you alone and then tells you this is the first time they ever got any credits in maths and thanks you super awkwardly, it's all worth it. 7th to 12th grade teacher here. Children are usually pretty open about it, but don't take it personal. They don't have strong feelings about you if you're not mistreating them. The smart ones might try to make fun of you behind your back, but they're doing that to each other as well. Establishing some kind of dominance or position is normal group behavior. It's funny how they think that you don't notice their behavior. Most children actually have no problems with the teacher, but the way and the content of what you're teaching. If I had a nickel for every time I heard I hate Spanish, but I like you, I'd be retired. It's about the same in physics and chemistry, more so in physics. I had an 8th header who very calmly started calling me by my first name when I tried to get him to stop talking and get back to work in class one day. Okay, Liz. Getting right back to work. Liz. I was half really pissed off and half pretty impressed by how much he had managed to piss me off by just saying my name. Sorry to hear that, Liz. Thank God that's not my real name or I would be enraged. Edit. Liz is not my real name because this is Reddit and anonymity is part of what makes this place cool. The kid used my actual real name. High school English teacher. If they really don't like me, everything in class is a fight. Read something? No. Write something? No. Do anything? Nope. Or they mutter bitch under their breath when I walk away. When I was a new teacher I had some students literally tell me to duck off. It's pretty obvious when students don't like you versus just not liking the curriculum. However, I genuinely just want the best for all my students and I just want them to pass and move on with their lives, even if they are buttheads in class. Luckily the longer I teach, the more students like my class and those students are few and far between these days. English is the only class I passed in high school. Well, I had it as 2 separate classes, but my teacher was chill, and I love that guy. He wanted to be an author. Hope has made some good progress. Had a girl tell a math teacher to suck her dick once. I called my math teacher boring in middle school, and unbeknownst to me the yearbook editor heard me. They put that shit in yearbook and credited my name with a picture of me. The teacher totally called me out on it when yearbooks were handed out. Grad school instructor here. You find out a month after the semester ends when you get your call tricks report and figure out who is the hater based on their writing style. I taught as an adjunct at one of the local law schools for a couple of years. After my first year, I joked that only 2 of my students stated in their reviews that I shouldn't be teaching, so I was doing pretty well. Ours were typed, so you couldn't tell who the student was, but since I was a writing instructor and had become pretty familiar with their writing styles, I had a good idea of who the 2 students were. They're usually pretty obvious / blatant about it. Had a girl once in a pretty rough school who decided it would be a good idea to roll up a piece of paper and light it like a cigarette in the middle of class. I was so shocked I just told her to leave and pointed at the door. So she came straight up to me, dropped the makeshift cigarette in front of my face, and then said there's only 2 minutes left in class. To say I was seething is an understatement. Maybe it's just because I'm 20, so I don't think of myself as that much older than high schoolers, seniors at least, but I could not be a teacher because I'd eat a bitch if they tried to pull that with my underpaid ass. Preschoolers are ruthless. They all like me right now, but boy howdy I would know if they didn't. You made me exhale through my nose. They avoid you at all costs. Don't talk to you. Ignore you. Don't listen. Or they'll do anything to make your life miserable. Middle school teacher. They'll straight up tell you lots of eye rolls. Disrespect. The more disrespectful they are, the kinder I'm to them. It's not worth taking it personally. They write Mrs. Marzipan Gargoyle sucks, but in a book in the classroom library. I laughed out loud when I saw it. Silence. But sucker. Been flight instructing for 3 years now, and most of my students are professional, rational almost grown-ups, which is just what you need for teaching while flying an airplane. What you don't need is headstrong students questioning your every instruction when both our lives depend on you getting your descent checklist done as written. Becky. Approach. Becky is being a bitch again. Get the fire department on standby please. Apostrophe. The feeling is usually mutual at the college/university level. If they don't show up to class and show genuine disinterest while in class by texting, talking loudly, etc., I assume they don't have any respect for me. I then won't like them either. There are a million courses to take. You didn't have to sign up for mine and then be a prick by disrespecting everyone around you trying to learn. That's what really scares me with this online learning. When I was in real classes I showed up every class and was very engaged. I genuinely felt like my professors cared about me. It's so difficult to express the same involvement over an email, and forgetting an assignment must seem so much more egregious to them when they don't see my misery in front of them, so they can assume I'm just screwing off when in reality I'm just so overwhelmed. Especially as I've transferred into this new school post-COVID, so I don't really know any of my professors here. I don't think it would be so hard to tell. I assume it would be like anyone else hating you and it doesn't take long to figure that out. Them calling you a bitch is normally a pretty good tell. Edit made the meaning a bit more clear. We always know. They always tell us. Sometimes several times a day. If you're being told that several times a day, maybe you just aren't very likable as a teacher. Teacher here. I don't usually spend much time worrying if the students like me, and teens aren't always the most secretive with their emotions. Lots of sighing eye rolling, or they outright tell you I often win most of them over throughout the year, but some kids simply don't like the teacher because they hate school in general, or they hate your particular subject. Not much you can do about that. The teachers that worry more about being the students' friends than being an engaging teacher are super cringy. They are the teachers that kids will talk about behind their backs, saying things like "I love Mr./Ms. X because we don't do anything in their class," but then next year they will say things like "Wow, Mr./Ms. X didn't teach us anything. They sucked." Apostrophe. I'd rather have a kid hate me for a year, only to realize I was doing my best to help them, than to have them love me for a year, only to realize I wasn't teaching them anything, and they aren't prepared for the next class. Also a teacher, and can 100% confirm that the teachers who worry about their students liking them are super cringy, and usually terrible teachers. Imma save this post. Hope it doesn't die in you. We will watch their career with great interest. Hello there. Oh, they are obvious. Eye rolling at you the whole time. Talk back. Attitude. The list is endless. It's the same as you disliking a coworker. I'm a high school teacher. You are simply describing the characteristics of a teenager. None of your examples show that someone that age likes or dislikes you. They literally all do this at some point or another. Tone and context are important though. Eye rolling when I make a dumb joke. Of course. Eye rolling when I literally say or do anything. That's different. Talking back in a joking manner is fine when we have a great rapport and they know when it's appropriate to do so or not. But talking back rudely and constantly is not. A lot of that stuff is typical teenager behavior. But it's pretty dang obvious that they dislike you when they do that stuff in certain contexts. I had an English teacher that everyone hated. Her last name was Jervik. Any guesses what we called her? Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.